everyone, good evening and welcome to the Graphic Novel of the Month Club for the month of May 2021. Our selection this month is Delicates by Brenna Thumler. I want to say two things here. So first, I just think this is a great book, and a couple of people were like, "Oh, you did Barry Windsor Smith, and then what's this book?" And honestly, I think this book is up there with Barry Windsor Smith and next month's book and every other book. So, dude, this is awesome. And then the other thing is that this is the first book that we've had ever that moved from the kids club to the adults club. So we did a kids club selection for Sheets, and this is the adult club selection for Delicates. And I'm just really kind of genuinely excited by this. So, and I wanna welcome Brenna. Hi, how are you, Brenna?
I'm great. It's good to be here.
Yeah, you're awesome, and you make great comics, and I want people to think of you as a person who makes great comics. That's my goal here.
It's my goal too.
Awesome. One of the things that I like about I mean, your storytelling is very time for comics, right? Like it's paced out on the page that works in the time frame for comics, and so how conscious are you of sort of the beats of comics and how much of it just happens? Mm-hmm. Again, I don't know that I'm asking for sensible questions or not.
You mean kind of like the pacing, like how like
pacing? Yeah, and also the sort of the range of the emotion, right? Like, so you're trying to communicate a thing on each page, right? How do you do it? How does that work?
I have no idea.
You have no great. No, that's fantastic. Yeah.
I think so. I mean, there are moments where it's like I realize that mostly like between really epic scenes or like when there's a lot of drama or there's a lot happening, like sometimes you just need a break. And that's when I put single page spread, for example. Like if like a lot of time is passing between this scene and the next scene, I realize like there needs to be something here for characters to take a pause before they just jump into this whole new thing. So a lot of it is a little mathematical. Like I need to understand timing. Yeah. And there's a lot of thought that goes into that. Like, and especially even like the page turns, like there are certain lines where like you can't turn the page yet. And there are, whenever there's sort of this, like when there's a climax, it's like, oh, what's going to happen? You're on the edge of your seat. And then there's a page turn. Like if you have the surprise happen before you turn the page, is like, then why are you turning the page? Like you want to give your readers a reason to turn the page. Yeah, well, so
this is the thing I'm really interested in as a sort of a creative process. How do you know where the page turn happens, I guess?
That is also a feeling, I think. Yeah. Like, I mean, some things you can't really help because it's like you only have so much room on a page. If you want to try to have like a whole scene, it's like, oh, I need this whole scene on 2 pages so that it ends on this page turn. Like it's not possible because it's only 6 by 8. Yeah. So a lot of it is just the best you can do. Sometimes the page turn just happens naturally depending on your panels, but there is so much planning. No one, like, you have no clue how much thought goes into what panels are on each page, how much time the scene is taking up. What I do is, so I have a manuscript, right? And there'll be a scene. So I make a list. I'm like, I wonder if I have 1 second.
Yeah, if you have something, I'd love to see it.
Let me bring up like an example. Like, I'll say like mostly Marjorie in this panel, and then I'll have the line, and then it's like Marjorie with Eliza getting up in the background, and there's like the line that happens. So it's like I'm showing, like I write down who is in the panel, what they're doing, if there's like what I'm zooming in on. if I realize like, oh, you need to be able to see their hand in this panel, or this person should be like the back of them because you don't want to see their face. It's like they're hiding. It's like, it's just these feelings of how can I best portray this line, and then the following reaction. So I'll just make this list of like each panel with the line or the silence that happens in that panel, and then I calculate like, okay, how many steps, how many bullet points are in this scene, and then I break it down into pages, like how many can I fit on a page, and then I'm like, can I cram 2 more onto this page because I really need the page turn here. It's just like one panel can literally take the entire day, and it's just it's so much. There's so much thought.
How often do you think you actually hit your own goals in terms of a page?
I feel like I'm pretty confident about every decision I make. I mean, I'm sure like I'm just like, oh, it's good. I mean, I don't know. I think that there aren't that many important page turns. Like a lot of them are like, it can turn here, it's fine. There's some moments where it's like, oh, it has to be here because something big is about to happen. They're like, they're knocking on someone's door and they're really scared to do that, and it's like, okay, they're going to knock, and then it's like, what's going to happen? I have to turn to the page to find out. It's just this moment of them sitting on the edge of the seat, like wondering what's going to happen next, and that's what makes them turn the page. And there really aren't too many moments like that. A lot of them are just, this scene has 24 bullet points. Let's divide that in half. And then you're spreading your spread.
Let me actually reverse the question. Let me, have you had a situation where you're like, this needs to happen on the page turn, and I've only got 4 panels worth of thing to get me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like it's really stressful when it's like, I really don't feel like these panels should be that big. Like, because a lot of times panels, if something's happening really quickly, you want small panels. So it's like, do.
Because it condenses time, right? Like small panels make it's faster.
Yeah. So sometimes it's like, I have to, I have like only 3 panels left, and that has to take up the entire page. It's like, well, great, now I have to make really big panels. So sometimes I'll try to insert extra things. I'll try to be like, okay, so what else can I show here that's important? Or I might just make like another awkward moment. Like, I just think of like being in that situation, like what might happen there if I'm trying to convey awkwardness. Like, what's another thing that can be really awkward that I can just throw in there to take up a little more space? So I have had to do that before, like insert a couple things to help with the size of the panels, and also help me achieve the proper page turn.
So I wonder about, because you were talking about that everything's in a manuscript ahead of time. So in the manuscript, what's the relationship between words and pictures in the manuscript? Like, are you storyboarding it? Are you?
Oh, not at all.
Not at all. Right.
It's all words. They're the only things that I.
Well, how do you know what you need to draw? I guess is what I'm. It seems to me like you're trying to make a conversation with your future artist self.
Yeah. Right. Yes, I'm doing pretty much. And I kind of imagine it just like a director would for a movie. Like they're getting the script and then they have to turn that into the movie.
Right.
Like I am kind of this different person. It's like there's the writer Brenna, and then she hands it over to artist Brenna. Because you wouldn't direct a movie without the script.
Yeah.
Like so that's really how I treat it. I treat it like, all right, here's a story that has to be told. Here are the things that have to be said. And in the silent moments, just like in a screenplay, it says the moments that have to be silent. There's so one thing I want to say, and this really spoke to me, was actually listening to the commentary for 13 Reasons Why, the show about suicide.
Yeah, absolutely.
And and there's like rape happens in the show, and there's this one scene where they were talking about the script for that scene, and it said something like the camera pans in and just is on the actress's face. It does not show the male. It just like shows her trauma, and it holds there for way too long. And that line, like, that just showed me, like, you have to have these moments of complete silence, and like if it needs to be really distressing, make it distressing. Like, it's so much is said in those moments without the words. So all of that is laid out in my script. Like, if there are moments that have to be really uncomfortable, I'll make sure that I have enough silent awkwardness written into the script, or I'm just, making a mental note that I have to have that there. But yeah, my manuscripts are entirely words, and then similar to handing in the script over to a director, then I go and I decide how the story needs to be told visually.